Hey, love. So today I spent some time with a colleague of mine who's a history professor, and he said, "Oh, you're an optimist." And I said, "Not entirely." So he's a history professor, and I talked to him about not really understanding history, and he said that it can't be authenticated, but that Mark Twain is said to have said history doesn't actually repeat itself, it just rhymes. And my fundamental issue with history has always been that we are sharing old experiences and densifying them in a vibration of matter and passing them down so that we basically create what we've already been given. So most of us believe what our parents believe. We don't even question the beliefs that we have. And that creates history to repeat itself, in my opinion. But it was interesting for him to say history doesn't repeat itself, it just rhymes. And when he said that I was an optimist, I said, basically, no, it's science, it's real. I've been my own guinea pig first. I've healed myself of things I was told I would never be healed from. I've healed a lineage of things that was, nobody would have ever thought to heal. So I want to talk to you today about your creative potential and the moments that we feel powerless, okay? So to say that we are the light is some cliche fluff. There's some cliche fluff associated with this, but it's also science. It's also reality. Like, you are an energetic body. You are an energy being. So I was running at the gym recently, and there's a track, and it's a pretty dark track, but at one part there is a dark corner, and I just want to point this out to you. I want to show it to you like this. So there's a light that shines down in that dark corner like this, right? And I was looking at the light, and I was realizing that so I just want you to consider that this light is your energy body, okay? And it's also the universe. So it's a collective and an individual thing. But first I want you to put it in the perspective of the collective. So this is all of us universally, okay? This is all of our light. And the thing is that when you are someone who is either feeling powerless or in the dark, what's most likely going on is, one, you don't remember that you're actually a creator of your own life, or two, you're creating your life and you're on the leading edge of what this light looks like. So collectively, the universe is also, we're guiding the universe. The universe is guiding us, but we are guiding the universe. We are creating the new history of the future, okay? And if you are someone who is creating your life, and you're getting backlash for it because people either want to leave you or people want to hate you or give you shit about it, it's most likely that you are actually on the continuum of this light as a collective on the leading edge. So what does that look like? The leading edge faces the dark, okay? So if you are somebody who is creating a life and you know that you are on the leading edge because you feel called to change something that people might say, oh, you're optimistic or naive to even think that you can change it. The truth is, sometimes you're going to want to stop. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck. People are going to hate you. People are going to say mean shit to you. And you have to remember that because you are actually guiding the universe rather than the other way around, because you are on the leading edge of our expansion as a collective, you will be facing the dark. And the people who are kind of like inside, like tucked inside of the light here, not like in the dark of it, not like expanding it, they're going to be pissed off because they have ideas of what should be going on, but they're not actually creating. So they're going to kind of try to pull you back from the leading edge so you can just create history as it was, just be the same light that we've always been collectively. So I just want to say, if you're on the leading edge of that, I love you. And congratulations. And sometimes it's really scary to face the dark, but the reality is that's what we're here to do. So if you're on the leading edge, I honor you, okay? And if you're not on the leading edge, and even if you are and sometimes you dip into this sense of powerlessness, this is what I want you to do, okay? Because sometimes even to know that you create your life can feel a little bit powerless, especially when you get into like this almost like impatient kind of manifesting, like, well, why isn't it happening yet? Why haven't I seen the results of that? So when you're feeling powerless, this is what I want you to do. So feeling powerless is basically like, so if we use this as an individual rather than a collective example, to feel powerless is kind of like standing at the edge of this light and going, it's so dark out there, I just want to get inside of that light. And what we basically do is we sit on the edge of that light And we end up feeling a sense of, so as if we're sitting in a dark room, like, oh my God, somebody come in this room and please fill it and save me. The circumstances that you feel powerless to, okay? Because everything starts with inside of you. You are the universe. The universe is you. It starts with you. What I want you to do is consider, so like say that you're in this dark room and you're feeling powerless and you don't really know how to stand up. It feels very uncomfortable to do so, and it feels alone and isolating to feel powerless. It sounds to you and to me in those moments that the only power that we have is to cry for help to some external source to please come save us, right? But what we are actually equipped to do, even though it feels scary, is if you consider that you're sitting in that room powerless, consider that room your entire energy body, okay? So what we do is we contract and we revert and we hide in the corners of ourselves, and we're afraid to come out, and that creates a darkness and a powerlessness in us. It's not so much that we have to cry for help and ask somebody to come save us. It's that we get to fill that room with the essence of what theoretically could just be the voice that we have. That's the only power we have, is the voice to cry out and ask for help. We can actually use that voice, the essence of that voice, to fill that room. So rather than saying, okay, I want money and I feel powerless to that, or I want this person to love me and he's not loving me and I feel powerless to that, bring that situation, whatever that situation is in your mind's eye, into your energy body room. So literally envision that you're sitting in a corner of your own self, and it's a room, and the only thing you really have to do is fill that room with the situation that makes you feel powerless, okay? Whether it's money, whether it's making somebody else, wanting somebody to love you, whether it's not knowing what your career is, bring that situation into your room where you feel powerless and where you're sitting down, and then once it's in the room, fill that situation with the essence of you, because it's your room it's in. Fill that situation with, okay, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to literally expand my energy body through the space of this room. So you are bringing the situation inside of you. You're no longer feeling powerless to the situation. You're actually changing the dynamics of the situation just by this exercise alone. You're bringing it inside of you instead of thinking it's some external force outside of you, okay? So I just really want to say today, my love, we are proven to be capable of things that people before, and most people in the masses, aren't even considering that they are capable of creating, okay? It's not optimism, it's not naivety, although there is an aspect of you have to really get your feet on the ground before you can create changes. It's not this fairies and rainbows, although that does exist, which is amazing, but you also have to get your feet firmly on the ground and be like, okay, that fairy and rainbow thing is a place that I can see, but if I only stay there, this particular dimension is totally going to kick my fucking ass. We don't want that. We want feet on the ground, head in the sky, heart open wide, right? And let that heart space be your creator. So normally when we feel powerless, we're actually in our heads just oh my God, I don't know how to do this. To get out of your head, which is another thing I want to talk about really quickly, one of the best ways to get out of your head, love, isn't to actually get out of your head. I had a client ask me this the other day, and I was kind of dumbfounded at first to what to say, but the most important thing about getting it out of your head is to realize that when you're in your head, your energy body is already kind of trying to escape, which is fine. It is what it is. It's not so much to get out of your head. It's not to, okay, I'm going to go meditate and I'm going to all of a sudden forget things. That's even almost worse for you, because what we want to do is bring that current down inward into where you actually are in an embodied way. And you want to you just want to hijack your head back. So if you feel hijacked by your head and all of a sudden it's thinking of things outside of the moment, it's thinking of what other people are thinking, it is constantly I always called them train wreck thoughts, because it was one after another, and I couldn't stop them, and they were coming from different directions, and that is terrible. And it's terrifying to be in that position. So if you are experiencing being too heady, you're always in your head, just hijack your head. This is the beauty of affirmations. Affirmations in and of themselves, they might seem flaky. Saying mantras might seem okay, that's just some what you do if you're a hippie or something, or you're a true whatever, I don't know, whatever judgments people have about it. It's science, people. If you create a new neural net in your brain by hijacking your brain with statements that are self-full focused. So it's not selfish. It's just like, if I am having terrible negative thoughts or I'm constantly thinking outside of the moment, the way that I'm going to get back in my body and in my head is to hijack the thoughts that I'm already having by creating affirmations. And in the spaces between any thoughts that I have that come up, I'm going to override those thoughts and I'm going to just say whatever that mantra is, whether it's I am loving, I am capable, I am safe. And if you're trying to manifest something, so affirmations, I think a lot of people are like, well, they're phony because they feel fake to you because they're too far removed in the opposite direction of what you're used to saying to yourself. So if you're constantly in a position of like, I hate myself, to say I love myself is going to feel like somebody just shit on your floor and then sprinkled it in candy and said like, hey, how about you just buy this idea? And you're going to hate it and it's not going to work for you. But if you are saying, I hate myself, and you want to get to a place of self-love, the best affirmation for you would be something more along the lines of like a baby step, like, I am worth considering, right? Because you can at least say that, like, I am a person worth considering. And the more you create affirmations that are believable to you and override those thoughts in your head that are just constantly outward focused and not actually present to what is true for you in your energy body, the easier it's going to be for you to create a new universe in your head, a new neural net that's easier to fire. So if you're constantly in your head, you have a neural net that is based in the default that you feel when you're constantly thinking. And the way to override that is not to actually just get out of your head, it's to hijack your head back so that you can align your head to your heart, not so you can get out of your head and go floating off in the ethers. Does that make sense? So there's some tips for you today. If you are somebody who is on the leading edge and you feel scared and you feel too heady about it sometimes, hijack your head back. If you are somebody who feels powerless right now and you know that you're sitting in that dark room of yourself, like, what the fuck do? I don't know how to do this. Stay in that room. Let it be dark. Don't try to be like, okay, I'm going to fill this with light, because that's not going to be believable to you. But bring the situation that you are feeling powerless about into your room of yourself. And when it's there, basically let all of the molecules of your energy body just sift through the situation, the invisible situation, and fill that room to all of its edges, okay? So you are on the leading edge of not just your own creation. I always say that we have to touch our own edges, our own boundaries. And if we look at the light the way that we did collectively, my love, if you're here always, it's gonna feel like shit, right? Because you're constantly facing the darkness, you're constantly facing the unknown, you're constantly shifting and turning the universe in ways that it hasn't turned and shifted yet, which is exactly what you want to do. It's exactly why we're here, but sometimes it's radically uncomfortable. So I just want to honor you in your discomfort. I want to just say thank you for being you, and I hope that these tips helped you today. If you are somebody who is too in your head, feeling powerless, and forgetting that you are actually the creator of your own universe. So thanks for being here. I am Stacy Hoch, if you didn't know. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good day. Bye.